Hello. So I got some really good feedback on the last few videos I've done for exercises that trainers really like to do or really like to use with their clients. But some of the other feedback I got was that you guys want some more advanced exercises, something that requires a higher ability level or stuff that could give you a higher ability. So today's video, I got some advanced training exercises that I really like to do and I like to try to progress my clients to get to. Stay tuned. Okay, so for exercise number one, the prerequisite of it is flexibility and strength. So this is a very advanced exercise at the basis of it, the fundamentals of it, but I did add another component to it that makes it even more challenging, but then also equally more effective. This is a step back Cossack squat. So either with body weight or potentially pretty lightweight, you're gonna hold the weight up in front of you in goblet position. This is at least where I prefer to do it. I'll demo facing you and facing sideways, but essentially all I'm gonna do is step and fall back, catching myself with one leg, and then almost jumping up off that leg back to my starting position. I like to think of it as plyometric, so I'm gonna fall backward and catch myself with the active leg, then push myself back up, almost jumping back to starting position. You do not necessarily have to lunge as deep as I am or squat nearly as deep as I am, but it's important to try to make that landing soft. Bounce back up, back to where you started. This is your step back Cossack squat. So because this exercise is plyometric, doing tons and tons of reps is not necessarily the intention of it. The intention is to build some power and strength in a large flexible range of motion. So you might only do a few reps. I like to do 12 reps total, alternating sides, 6 each leg. This is a tough exercise. It's going to exhaust you. Give it a go. All right, exercise number 2 is for your biceps. We'll call this one Bicep Circles. The goal of this exercise is to take advantage of joint positions and the strength curve where muscles are stronger eccentrically than they are concentrically. Here's what's gonna happen. With palms up, I'm gonna draw the biggest circle I can by flexing my bicep and then externally rotating my shoulder. I'm weaker out here, so I wanna do the eccentric out here, and I'm stronger in here, so I wanna do my concentric right here. This is a slow and a weak exercise, meaning the weight you're gonna use is probably a lot less than a normal bicep curl. When I do my working sets, I'm using 22 to 25 pounds for 10 reps. So this is definitely an exercise where you're gonna need to go a little bit lighter, especially if you're doing it correctly. One of the things that I'll see done wrong too frequently is to straighten the elbow that people are pushing outward. That could be due to a few things. Maybe it's shoulder immobility or it's just technique done wrong, but the goal is to keep your elbows tucked into your sides, rotate outward, and then lower down. And I can guarantee you can feel how effective this exercise is. That's number 2, bicep circles. All right, exercise number 3 is the dead stop kettlebell swing. This is probably an exercise you may have seen me talk about in other videos, but it's a really phenomenal exercise. It works pretty much every single muscle that you got in your legs. So the dead stop swing. Standard kettlebell swing is very posterior leg driven. This one, by adding a squat in the dead stop, you get the quads to get involved as well, and it gets you in a stretch position. So your starting position is about as deep in a squat as you possibly can. Some of us, when we squat, we have a difficult time getting down because due to ankle flexibility and potentially hip flexibility. What the weight can do is counter your body weight. So I'm gonna lean backward a little bit, and if I have a tough time sitting down here, oftentimes if I hold something and kind of just fall and sink backwards, I can get deeper into my squat. So this could help you work on that flexibility for your squat. But from here, like I'm hiking a football, I'm gonna stand and hike, then swing, then back swing, and then set it back down. My starting position and any position are always back down in this deep squat, as deep as I can go. Whatever you're able to do is totally good enough. So it's important that when I do my swing, to protect my spine, I keep my wrist close to my hips. I don't wanna stay down here. That's gonna increase the likelihood that I flex my lower spine, which is not what you want. You may not get hurt, but you don't want to find out that you will. So one of the safest things to do, again, is to keep the wrist close to the groin, and it makes it easier to keep a neutral spine there. So again, you got basically 4 moves. You've got a hike, the swing, the back swing, the set down. Modified by the weight you're using. Great exercise, and hanging out down here, you can make those quads burn quite a bit from stretching them and sinking into a deep squat. That's your dead stop swing. I love this exercise. All right, exercise number 4, I think, is the barbell row. So this is a tough exercise because it really allows you to use heavy weight. The barbell's fixed and you're in a hinged position, which is partly the reason I like this exercise so much. So you're doing a barbell row, a bent over row. You're basically at the bottom part of the deadlift, the toughest part of the deadlift. So I'm isometrically engaging all my deadlift muscles, my entire posterior chain, but now I'm bringing in the row mechanic, which makes this a really good exercise. So modified by the weight you're using, the goal of this exercise is, let me break this down before I explain. you can be almost vertical, so almost upright, and still work mostly the same muscles. But I like to take advantage of the isometric strength in this exercise to strengthen my back in a deadlift position or a hinge position. So you're welcome to do it up here and then have a lower risk of straining the lower back. But if you really want to get stronger at the lower back, you might want to try hinging forward more, spending more time down here, engaging your core in this hinge position, and then strengthening the spine stabilizing muscles. So my goal is usually to spend as much time near the bottom of the range of motion as possible with my rows. You can do touch and goes where you do a full dead stop, or you can keep constant tension on the muscles and not let those weights touch the ground. But it's important our spine does not tilt back into that posterior pelvic tilt. Again, you might never get hurt doing that. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones, or you might ruin your entire life because you hurt your lower back. Weigh those pros and cons. To me, that's err on the side of caution. Barbell row could definitely be replicated with dumbbells instead, doing the same motion, but with dumbbells. But barbells, because the bar is fixed, both hands are on it, muscles like to work together. You can lift a lot more weight, overload the muscles, and progress a whole lot farther with a barbell than you potentially could with dumbbells. Great exercise. Okay, our final exercise is a great quad exercise or a knee strengthening exercise. For the right person, it is a wall-assisted knee over toe squat or a sissy squat. It comes with a bunch of different names. Ultimately, the goal is to put a lot of stress on the quads, and it's a lot like doing a leg extension. There's two different ways I like to do this exercise. Number one is movement. Number two is isometric. Both are challenging. Ultimately, what I'm looking for is my arms straight on the wall. They're going to want to bend. I'm going to try to stop that from happening. I am basically an arm's distance from the wall here, so that's going to set up how far I want to stand away. And then I don't want to break at the hips. I want a straight line from knee to shoulder. And I'm going to lower my knees down in front of me, getting about as low as I possibly can. And I can either hang out down here for as long as I possibly can, or do a few sets for like 30 to 45 seconds, or I can do 12 reps. When I first started this exercise, I would do holds at the bottom for about 30 seconds. And as I've progressed, I am now doing repetitions where, again, I am loading the knee, stressing the quad, and then extending that leg. It's a lot like doing a leg extension, but stretching the quad a whole lot more. This is not an exercise for everybody. This is a very advanced exercise where it definitely puts a lot of stress on the knee. And again, for the right person, that can be amazing. For the wrong person, you might get hurt. How to know if you're the right person? Take it cautiously, do it slowly. Maybe you don't go as far down as I do. Maybe you do the isometric holds. Maybe you hold onto a band for a little bit of assistance. Or maybe this is not the exercise you start with. You wait until you trust your legs a little bit more and progress to something like this. But either way, it's an incredible and an awesome exercise. All right, so every exercise I just showed you, I either do personally or I have some of my clients do some of them as well. I have a 67-year-old client, 40 years older than me, who's doing that last exercise I just showed you. He's got really, really strong legs. He's very advanced. So I'm not saying anybody can do this, but just know that just because I'm 27 doesn't mean you can't do what I can do. It's just going to be pretty tough for a lot of people. So awesome exercises. Give them a go. If you want more exercises like this, give me a message in the comments below and I'll get you more options. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day. Bye-bye.